Let me hit you with a hard question right now. What's more dangerous to a man's future, losing money or choosing the wrong woman? Most men would instinctively say losing money. But history, psychology, and even Stoic philosophy prove the opposite. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. But let me add a modern twist. The happiness of your life also depends on the quality of the woman you allow into it. Because here's the brutal reality. The wrong woman doesn't just waste your time. She can destroy your peace, your confidence, your finances, and even your legacy. Think about it. How many successful men have been brought to their knees not by business rivals, not by bad investments, but by toxic relationships? From kings in ancient Rome to modern celebrities splashed across tabloids, one pattern never changes. The downfall of many great men often begins with one simple mistake in ignoring the signs of a stupid woman. Now, when I say stupid, I don't mean low IQ. I'm not talking about test scores or degrees. I'm talking about women who lack emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and maturity, the qualities that make or break a relationship. These women may look stunning, seductive, even irresistible, but underneath that beauty, they carry behaviors and patterns so toxic that they can derail your entire life. The Stoics taught us to master ourselves, to guard our peace, and to never give our power away to chaos. And if there's one truth I want you to walk away with today, it's this. If you can't recognize these signs early, you risk giving your power to someone who will only drain it. So listen carefully, because once you see these patterns, you'll never unsee them. And trust me, after today, you'll look at women very differently. Sign 1, she chooses drama over peace. There's a saying I want you to remember for the rest of your life. Smart women protect their peace. Stupid women protect their ego. And that single truth can save you years of heartbreak, wasted energy, and sleepless nights. Now picture this. You're sitting at a Starbucks in New York City on a quiet Sunday morning. The city is just waking up. You've got your coffee in hand, your laptop open, and for a moment, life feels calm. Then suddenly a woman's voice cuts through the air. She's not whispering. She's not reasoning. She's yelling at her boyfriend over a simple text message he received from a coworker. Not cheating, not betrayal, just a harmless, hey, don't forget the project deadline. But for her, that tiny message is proof of betrayal. It's the spark she needs to turn a peaceful morning into World War III. And that, my friend, is your first red flag. A stupid woman will always choose drama over peace. Why drama feels like an addiction. You need to understand the psychology behind it. For emotionally immature women, drama isn't a problem. It's fuel. It's what makes them feel alive. The yelling, the tears, the slammed doors, the chaos, all of it feeds her craving for attention and validation. In her world, if she's upset, it must mean she matters. If she's fighting, it must mean you care. If she's creating chaos, it must mean she has control. She confuses conflict with connection. But here's the truth, conflict isn't love. Conflict is poison when it's manufactured out of ego. A wise, emotionally stable woman, she talks. She listens. She wants resolution. She protects peace because she knows love cannot survive without it. But a stupid woman? She thrives in storms because silence feels unbearable. How this destroys your life. Living with a drama-driven woman is like living inside a ticking time bomb. You never know when it's going to explode. Your days become unpredictable. Your peace becomes fragile. And eventually you start losing yourself. I've spoken to men from Los Angeles, London, and Chicago who all said the same thing. I stopped focusing on my goals and started focusing only on managing her emotions. That's the real cost of drama. It distracts you from your purpose. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. But when you're trapped with someone who constantly manufactures outside chaos, your inner strength gets drained day by day. The warning signs you ignore. Men often overlook the small red flags, overreacting to the tiniest issues, turning normal conversations into battles, accusing without evidence, creating tension when none exists. At first you tell yourself, she's just emotional. She'll calm down. But here's the secret nobody tells you. How a woman handles small conflicts is exactly how she'll handle big ones. If she chooses ego over peace in the little things, she will choose ego over love when it matters most. The harsh truth. You cannot fix her. You cannot love the chaos out of her. You can only protect your energy by walking away before her drama becomes your normal. Because at the end of the day, peace isn't optional. It's priceless. Sign 2, she values attention over respect. Let me tell you a story about Michael, a 29-year-old graphic designer from Los Angeles. Michael thought he had struck gold when he met her. She was stunning, the kind of woman who turned heads the moment she walked into a room. Long hair, a radiant smile, and a confidence that made every man take notice. At first he felt lucky, blessed even. But then cracks began to appear. Every night before bed, while Michael wanted to talk, laugh, or simply enjoy each other's presence, she was glued to her phone. For 2 hours straight, she would edit selfies, scroll endlessly, and chase the perfect filter before uploading her newest picture. And every morning, before even saying good morning to him, the first thing she checked wasn't Michael beside her. It was her notifications. Who liked her photos? Who slid into her DMs? How many strangers told her she was beautiful? And that's when Michael realized something crushing. No matter how much he valued her, it was never enough. Because what she truly craved wasn't love. It wasn't respect. It was attention. The psychology of attention addiction. Some women measure their entire worth by how many people desire them. More likes, so more value. More DMs, trons, more confidence. More attention, more power. This is not self-love. This is insecurity in disguise. Think about it. When a woman needs strangers to validate her beauty, it means she doesn't truly believe in it herself. She's outsourcing her self-worth. And here's the brutal truth. If her identity is built on attention, her loyalty will always be fragile, because as soon as the attention fades, she'll go looking for it elsewhere. How this destroys relationships. A woman who values attention over respect will make you feel like you're competing. Every single day, competing with strangers on Instagram, competing with faceless men in her DMs, competing with her own hunger to feel desirable. And you can't win that game. Michael started to feel it too. He grew insecure not because he wasn't enough, but because she made him feel replaceable. He began questioning himself. Am I boring? Do I not excite her anymore? But the truth wasn't about Michael. It was about her. Her addiction to validation meant that no single man could ever satisfy her. Respect is the real attraction. Here's what most men don't realize. Attention fades. Respect lasts. A wise woman knows that being respected by one good man is worth more than being desired by 1,000 strangers. But a stupid woman? She'll trade loyalty for likes. She'll post provocative pictures, entertain strangers in her inbox, and then wonder why her relationships fall apart. Respect builds intimacy. Attention builds emptiness. How to spot this early? Pay attention to the subtle signs. She spends more time online than offline. She constantly talks about her likes, followers, and views. She glows when strangers compliment her but seems bored when you do. She chases admiration but struggles to give genuine affection. If you notice these patterns early, you have two choices: ignore them and suffer later, or respect yourself enough to walk away. The harsh truth. A woman who values attention over respect will never truly prioritize you, because she doesn't even prioritize herself. If she can't respect herself, she can't respect you. And that's why, if you want peace, loyalty, and real connection, you must remember this rule. Choose the woman who chooses you, not the one who chooses likes. Sign 3. She plays the victim in every situation. Let me introduce you to Daniel. Daniel was dating a woman who seemed perfect at first. She was charming, witty, and always had a story to tell. But after a few months, Daniel noticed a troubling pattern. Every story she told had the same ending. She was the victim. Her ex-boyfriend? He ruined my life. Her friends? They betrayed me. Her boss? He never respected me. Even her family? They never understood me. At first, Daniel felt sympathy. He thought she just had a difficult past, and maybe she needed someone to love her through it. But slowly he realized something darker. Whenever they argued, it didn't matter what happened. She was always the one who was hurt. She was always the one who deserved an apology. Even when Daniel was the one suffering, somehow the spotlight turned back to her pain. The psychology of victimhood. Why do some women live in victim mode? Because victimhood gives power. When she plays the victim, she avoids responsibility. She doesn't have to admit her mistakes. She doesn't have to grow. Instead, she manipulates sympathy to control the people around her. Psychologists call this the drama triangle, where someone constantly rotates between being the victim, the rescuer, or the persecutor. But for a woman who thrives on attention and control, staying the victim is the easiest role. The problem? A victim mindset kills relationships. How this plays out in love. Imagine you're dating someone who never admits when they're wrong. Every disagreement ends with you apologizing, even when you did nothing wrong. You point out something hurtful she said. She cries and accuses you of being too harsh. You express your needs. She claims you're never satisfied. You set a boundary. She tells you that you're controlling and cold. Over time, this wears you down. You stop speaking your truth. You stop expressing your feelings. Because you already know the outcome, she'll twist the story, make herself the victim, and leave you feeling guilty for things you never did. That's not love. That's emotional manipulation. Why this is dangerous. A woman stuck in victimhood will never grow. She'll blame everyone else for her unhappiness. She'll drain your energy, your peace, and your confidence. And worst of all, she'll make you question your own reality. This is how men end up walking on eggshells, constantly trying to avoid triggering another meltdown. And here's the Stoic truth. You cannot rescue someone who refuses to take responsibility for their own life. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. But a woman in victim mode rejects this wisdom. She gives away her power and demands that you carry the weight for both of you. How to spot this early. Watch carefully. Does she talk endlessly about how everyone mistreats her? Does she refuse to take accountability when things go wrong? Does every disagreement end with you feeling guilty even when you're not at fault? If so, she's not just telling stories, she's revealing her mindset. The hard truth. A relationship cannot thrive if one person refuses to grow, because the man who tries to save a victim will eventually become the villain in her story. So remember this. You don't need to fix her, you need to protect yourself. Sign 4. She disrespects your time and energy. Imagine this. You've had a long day. Work drained you. Your body is tired and your mind is begging for rest. But you still make the effort. You text her, call her, or even drive across the city just to see her smile. And what happens? She keeps you waiting. She takes 2 hours to get ready. Or worse, she cancels at the last minute because something came up. That's not just inconsiderate. That's disrespect. The story of Kevin. Kevin, a software engineer, once told me about a woman he dated for 6 months. He planned dates, picked her up, and always made sure she felt cared for. But every time she arrived late, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes over an hour. No apology, no explanation, just a casual, "Relax, it's not a big deal." The real problem wasn't the lateness itself. It was the message hidden underneath. "My time matters more than yours." Kevin started noticing the pattern everywhere. When he needed her support, she was too busy. But when she wanted something, she expected him to drop everything and come running. The psychology behind disrespect. Here's the truth. Time and energy are the most valuable resources a man can give. Money, gifts, even words, and all can be replaced. But time once spent, it's gone forever. When a woman disrespects your time, she's showing you how little she values you. Psychologists explain this through the concept of reciprocity. Healthy relationships are built on balance. Both partners give and receive. But when one partner constantly takes without giving back, it creates resentment, exhaustion, and emotional burnout. And let's be clear, disrespect doesn't always come as insults or shouting. Sometimes it's subtle. It's in the missed calls, the canceled plans, the constant demands that revolve only around her needs. How this affects you. At first, you might brush it off. You tell yourself, she's just busy, or maybe she didn't mean it. But over time, it eats away at you. You start to feel invisible. You lose confidence because your effort isn't appreciated. You become drained, not from love, but from constant disappointment. And here's the worst part. The more you tolerate it, the more she pushes the boundary. Because disrespect tolerated becomes disrespect multiplied. What a respectful woman looks like. The right woman values your effort. She doesn't waste your energy, or she fuels it. She knows that time spent together is sacred, and she treats it with care. She won't make you beg for her attention. She won't make you feel guilty for asking for basic respect. Instead, she'll match your effort, because she understands that love is partnership, not exploitation. The harsh truth. A woman who disrespects your time and energy is showing you her priorities. The Stoics remind us that our time is short, our days are numbered, and wasting them on someone who doesn't appreciate us is the greatest tragedy. So remember this: the woman who truly values you will never play games with your time, because love without respect isn't love, it's slavery. Sign 5. She thrives on drama and chaos. Have you ever met someone who seems allergic to peace? The kind of woman who can't sit in silence, who gets restless when things are calm, and who almost needs conflict just to feel alive. That's the woman who thrives on drama and chaos. At first, you might mistake her fire for passion. She's intense, exciting, unpredictable. But over time, you realize her world isn't built on passion. It's built on destruction. The story of Jason. Jason, a 31-year-old entrepreneur, thought he had found the one. She was beautiful, outgoing, and had this spark that drew people in. But what he didn't realize was that spark came with fire. And fire burns. Whenever things were going well, when the relationship was steady, peaceful, and full of harmony, she grew bored. So what did she do? She created problems. If Jason didn't text her back immediately, she accused him of ignoring her. If he spent time with his friends, she accused him of not caring enough. If there was absolutely nothing wrong, she invented something wrong. Jason found himself trapped in a cycle of constant arguments, emotional outbursts, and dramatic reconciliations. At first, he mistook it for passion. But eventually, he realized this wasn't love. This was chaos. The psychology of chaos seekers. So why do some women thrive on drama? Because chaos gives them significance. A peaceful relationship feels boring to someone who's addicted to emotional highs and lows. They crave intensity, not stability. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement, the same principle that keeps gamblers hooked. The unpredictable cycle of chaos and reconciliation floods the brain with dopamine, making the drama feel like excitement. But here's the problem. What feels exciting in the short term becomes toxic in the long run. The toll it takes on you. Being with a woman who thrives on drama is exhausting. You start walking on eggshells, always trying to prevent the next explosion. You lose focus on your own goals because you're constantly putting out emotional fires. You sacrifice your peace thinking, maybe if I just try harder, she'll finally be happy. But she won't, because her happiness isn't built on peace, it's built on chaos. And here's the hard truth. You can't outlove someone's addiction to drama. What real love looks like. Real love doesn't need chaos to feel alive. Real love is calm, it's steady, it's built on mutual respect and trust. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus once said, "When we are no longer able to find tranquility in ourselves, it is useless to seek it elsewhere." How to spot this early. Notice her reaction to peace. Does she appreciate it? Or does she sabotage it? If she stirs up fights out of nowhere, pay attention. If she calls you boring when things are stable, pay attention. If her life is a constant storm of arguments, gossip, and conflicts, pay attention, because peace to her feels like emptiness, and she'll do anything to fill that emptiness with chaos. The harsh truth. A woman who thrives on drama will never let you rest. She'll drain your energy, steal your peace, and keep you locked in a cycle of conflict. And no man can build a strong life if his home is a battlefield. So remember this. Choose the woman who brings calm to your storm, not the one who creates it. Sign 6. She avoids accountability at all costs. One of the clearest signs of a foolish woman is this. She refuses to take responsibility for her actions. It doesn't matter what happens, and she'll twist the story, shift the blame, or create excuses to avoid facing the truth. And while it may seem small at first, this trait is poison in a relationship. The story of Ryan. Ryan was a calm, level-headed guy. He worked hard, valued honesty, and believed in owning up to mistakes. When he started dating her, everything felt amazing. The chemistry, the excitement, the connection. But soon he noticed something strange. Whenever she messed up, she never admitted it. If she forgot their date, it was his fault for not reminding her. If she snapped at him in anger, it was because he made her upset. If she crossed a boundary, she claimed he was being too sensitive. Every mistake she made became his fault. Every conflict ended with him apologizing, even when he had done nothing wrong. At first, Ryan brushed it off. But over time, he realized something heartbreaking. He was carrying the weight of two people. He was responsible not only for his mistakes, but also for hers. And that's when it hit him. She didn't want a partner. She wanted a scapegoat. The psychology of avoiding accountability. Why do some women avoid responsibility? Because accountability requires maturity. It requires the courage to admit fault, the humility to grow, and the strength to change. But for someone driven by ego and insecurity, admitting fault feels like weakness. So instead, they choose denial. They choose blame shifting. They choose to point the finger outward rather than inward. Psychologists call this deflection, a defense mechanism that protects the ego but destroys relationships, the damage it causes. A relationship without accountability becomes a cycle of frustration. You can never solve problems because the blame is never shared. You can never grow together because one partner refuses to evolve. Slowly, resentment builds. You start feeling unheard, unappreciated, and emotionally drained. You stop expressing your needs because you already know the answer. She'll just deny, deflect, or accuse you in return.
So remember this. Choose the woman who owns her mistakes, not the one who runs from them. Because love without accountability isn't love. It's a lie. Final words, powerful ending. So, let me leave you with this truth. A woman's beauty might capture your eyes, but her mindset will decide your future. The wrong woman doesn't just cost you time. She costs you peace. She costs you growth. She costs you years you will never get back. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we cannot control other people, only ourselves. You cannot fix a stupid woman. You cannot change her patterns. You can only recognize the signs and protect your energy before it's too late. So choose wisely, because the partner you choose isn't just part of your life. She becomes the environment of your soul. And remember, a smart man chases beauty. A wise man chooses peace. Which one will you be?